Hey, what's up? You know anybody in Ukraine? No? You know anybody in Ukraine that needs food or water? No? I don't know. The grocery stores are asking all over the world. I'm just curious. Just curious if you know anybody, right? You know anybody in like Chicago that needs some American money? I do. You know anybody in like California that needs some American money? Yeah? You know anybody at the gas pump in America that needs some American money? Yeah? Tell me how it is our country is giving money to another country when there's even one person in our country who needs it. I mean, it used to just be like clandestine. Like they'd be like, oh, it's the CIA black budget shit. But now they just literally put that out everywhere. And they tell you right to your face. They tell you right to your face. A lot of our granddaddies, a lot of our uncles, a lot of our cousins, brothers, sisters fought in the armed service, died for freedom. And we're giving our money from our taxpayers to an overseas country that has zero to do with us, no political affiliation, nothing. Nothing. We don't even have military bases there. So how are we denying our vets coverage when they gave their lives, their legs, their friends? We're just like, totally screw you. I mean, I'm from New York. We see it all the time. Some veteran that's pissing on himself in the street, drunk out of his mind because he can't get into the VA. I mean, how is that acceptable? Like our priorities, if that's what the Democratic race is about, then like, I mean, that's terrorism, is it not? Giving away federal funds collected by the people within a country to a country that has nothing to do with them, does not benefit us at all. Nothing. They just make up excuses. They say, oh, we grow the vegetables there, or oh, we blah, blah, blah there. But the reality of it is that they have business ties in businesses that are really dirty. And the reason that they go to Ukraine for it is because it is a country, which is why Biden, is so concerned with that, because he's a Zionist. I'll tell you right to your face, he doesn't give a flying fuck about America. I don't care about politics. I don't think you're going to ever vote for the right president. Because I've seen it go wrong 12 times since I've been on this planet. Yeah. In 14 different time zones. I've never seen it work. I never see them present you with an option that's good. And you sure as shit can't vote your way out of a corrupt system using the corrupt system. Why are we giving money to another country? I mean, you really got to ask yourself that. Why am I funding a war that has nothing to do with me? You can't even say it's about freedom, because they're not even running that this time. They're just telling you that we have to give them money. We're talking $53 billion. $53 billion. There's 315 million people in America that could all use $20 in their pocket. So what are we doing giving it to another country? In a time where people are broke and crime is on the rise because people can't provide for themselves anymore. God forbid people go and get jobs. That's not going to happen. Where'd the inflation come from? I mean, you literally gave away a bunch of money, like $1,200 to each person that wanted it, right? Like a year ago. And now you're surprised that there's inflation? This is the cost of printing money. It's called inflation. And we have an inflationary economy that is built around a fiat monetary system that, uses fractional reserve banking, which is you put in $100, they keep 10, lend out 90 for interest. And the bankers get loaded from this. And the people don't. The people become poor because debt is a sin. It's forgetfulness of your true nature, for lack of better words. If you're charging somebody debt, you're not helping that person. It might seem like it in the short, but it's not. You're shorting them. And you're taking the money from me, who puts it in a bank, and you're taking that money and you're giving away 90% of it. If everybody in America went to the ATMs tomorrow and asked for their money, the system would crash. There's nothing they could do to stop it because they don't have the money. Remember, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, they had gold. They actually had gold right up until the World Trade Center collapsed, because all of the gold was housed underneath the World Trade Center. You know what's in Fort Knox? You're going to love this. opium. I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. I wish I was making this up, but I am not making this up. This is a real thing. We have crackheads at the helm in our country. And I don't care who you vote for, left, right, sideways, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change until we get involved on local and state politics and make it illegal for stuff like that, because the federal government is not granted the authority over you in any way that the state is not. So if the state doesn't make a law, the federal government has no authority, unless it's outlined in the Constitution, to oversee the governance of those state people. That was the whole point of the Constitution, was to prevent the federal government from getting too much power. And nowadays, these presidents are so corrupt, they don't even try to hide it. They just call it an executive order. It's an executive order. It's executive. It's an emergency. And if you give them or grant them powers to do this nonsense during an emergency, you're going to get, guess what? I'll leave it to the imagination. What did the war on terror bring? War is terror. The war on terror brought more terror. What did the war on drugs bring? Anybody remember DARE? Was it audacious that they sent us to DARE and then put us all on pharmaceutical methamphetamine in the classroom? They're like, stay off drugs, except for the worst one. And then you turn 18, and out of nowhere, they take away the drugs because you're not in school. But simultaneously, they flood the streets with real methamphetamine. Severity gets high because they were conditioned while their brain was developing. They needed something external in order to find peace within themselves. It's the same thing. For all y'all out there doing Adderall, y'all are tweakers. Call it what you want. I was a tweaker too. Do your thing. I'm not here to judge you, but I should guide you because, that's not good. Might want to not do that. So we have a government run amok, and obviously what they're doing is giving away all of our things. They've released the oil, they've burned all the food factories, they killed off the cows that were heavily by Bayer. They killed them off in Kansas when the heat went above a certain temperature. They all dropped dead, right? Because they're GMO cows. So that's the beauty of these kill switches that they put into things. This is why organic is the path, So they've destroyed the food. They were destroying the trains that ship the coal. It's a real thing. You can research that a little bit. Simultaneously, while allowing an influx of drug cartel people across the border with fentanyl and with crack and with meth. It's fentanyl and meth now. It's not crack. It's not coke. Sorry. I know because I lived in Colombia and I talked to people down there and they're like, dude, the price of coke went down by half down here, which means that it's not being moved to the United States because when the price goes up, anyway, I would just think that people would be having enough of it, but they're destroying everything so that in the future, when we finally wake up as a nation and realize that they have overstepped their bounds, you know what's going to happen? We're going to take our guns and use them. And that's the goal. They're pushing us towards that so that when we do realize what's going on, we take our guns and use them. There's no food to sustain us. There's no water to sustain us. No coal for fires and gas and all this bullshit. They've already raised the price of gas by double since Biden took office, which is just awesome. But I do think it's really important that people realize that this is a concerted effort to screw you, and you should be furious. Left and right, you should both be furious, because the left, they're going to get left in the dust, because that's like the foot soldiers of the New World Order to usher in the liberal world order, which is what they're calling it now, and they don't think we know. I mean, it's hilarious, but it is, it's hilarious. You can take my body. You can never take my soul, man. That's just with God. Good luck. Hell no. Yeah. But if we come together as a country and we say, hey, look, man, we don't agree with, like there should be a federal law that says tax money cannot go to other countries until our country is taken care of. No? I mean, doesn't that make sense? Or like term limits for Congress. Or like, a ban on GMO, or a ban on foreign investment groups buying up American soil for farmland. That should not be legal. You know, everybody wants them to like legalize abortion, when in reality it's still legal. It's state by state, like the Constitution outlines. It does, nothing's changed. It's just now the states have the rights given back to them. That's the states' rights. So, you know, I mean, people don't have their priorities straight. But on a local and state level, you do have power in voting. Not in California, not in New York, because you're dealing with two tyrants that have manipulated the system to the degree that they can win. And they've flooded it with so many illegal immigrants that are just so happy to not be in their war-torn countries. You know, from our funding of the cartels and their products, by the way. Like, you know, you can't go to fucking Honduras anymore because it's all MS-13. It used to not be. But once El Salvador got a good president that kicked all the gangbangers out or killed them, they fled up to Honduras. And now Biden's like, welcome, come to America. Just step by step, everything gets closer. It's not a joke. It's not even funny. I mean, it is hilarious. But it's really not, because if people don't see this, then they have no idea what's potentially going to happen if we don't act. Tax money should never go to anything that is not on American soil. Like, and really it should go back to the people. It shouldn't go to the CIA or like even the feds. The tax money is for like roads, hospitals, and all that stuff. It's not for, you know, gender studies in Pakistan or finding out how many red drum are in the Gulf of Mexico. It's not for like, you know, funding the chemical castration of prisoners because they think they're stuck in the wrong body. How is that, like, how are we paying for surgeries in prisons for transgender? Like, well, don't commit the crime. They say it's a life-saving surgery. What kind of planet do I live on that's life-saving? It has a 40% suicide rate attached to it. How many pre-op transgenders kill themselves? How many post-op transgenders kill themselves? Okay, if you look up the numbers, they're not the same. So that means that once they get what they want, they kill themselves. Because we're not dealing with that as the core of the issue. I would hope that's obvious. You know, if cupcakes killed 40% of the kids that ate them, there's a really fucking good chance that you wouldn't teach kids how to bake cupcakes. Yet here we are, giving every single kid a little easy oven and a recipe sheet and saying, this is how you bake cupcakes. Even though it has a 45 or 40% suicide rate attached to the end goal. Which is why it's the end goal. Because they're trying to kill your kids. And if they can't do it with all their poisons and toxins and chemtrails and the 5G and all this nonsense, they're going to do it by having them do it to themselves. They're going to make life so unlivable that children are going to take their own lives. And I think that's fucked up. And I don't think we should support that. If you tell a kid he could be a unicorn, he's going to try to become, you guessed it, a unicorn. So maybe we could stop handing out the cupcake guide, right? Maybe we could use our noodles. Anywho, we should never be sending a single dollar outside of America while there are Americans in need. Like SOS America, sinking ship, man.